This is your spoiler warning for day 2 of the League of Legends World Championships playing stage. In 3, 2, 1. Europe, what the hell happened? I haven't seen French players collapse this bad since the World Cup. I have not seen Europe collapse this bad since any war ever. You're gonna walk in the streets of France tomorrow and see cars flipped and on fire, and that's because Adam's gonna be doing half of it. My dude single-handedly was carrying his team for the most part of this series.
Okay, there we go. W to slow. Yep. Sparta uses his ability just to run. Adam uses his abilities to chase. And then Adam kills. Okay, yep, that's how that works.
You know, 40 CS. Adam going full French. He loves a guillotine. As Sparta could be in trouble again. Shio is here, pulls them in, knocks them both up. The sustain is there, and BJ bleeds to death. Sparta's gonna be next. Is the Q coming back up? Quickness though. Oh, but he channeled it just in time. The buffer is beautiful from Adam as he looks for a little bit more as well, and he still lives on. Adam is unstoppable.
Game 3, obviously, he had his own problems as well. But here's what I don't understand from BDS's point. How in the world do you go from getting DARIUS game 1, which sure, it's banned afterwards, Adam absolutely pops off. And you can kind of tell the makings of an upset early on in the series, where even though Adam is absolutely popping off and like hard carried, every other part of BDS was kind of behind. Like he was solo carrying. So then game 2 and game 3 come. Game 2, sure, you lock in the Renekton early, you take that risk, it doesn't work out, but game 3, whenever you need to pivot, it is a do or die game, and the one person on your team that you know can carry is Adam, and nobody else on the team is performing up to that level at the current moment. Why do you not give him better counter pick? Or like round 5, like red 5 pick? Why? I don't get it. This now throws off everything, because now the loser of PSG versus Loud is likely going to play BDS, assuming BDS makes it all the way through to that knockout stage. So now, if you're Loud, who has a history of being beat by PSG and not really making it out to that point, and you get that second seed coming in, you're now double screwed. So if you're Loud, like tomorrow's game becomes the most important series that you will probably play at Worlds in terms of making your path to get there the easiest possible. For BDS, if I see Crowning get Ezreal again, my dude was missing skill shots left and right. He looked like me playing at certain parts of that series. He still put out a good bit of damage. I'm not going to say the entire series is on him because it's not. I think it's more on mid and jungle just absolutely falling apart and support not playing well. But this is the problem though with BDS, and we saw this all during the LEC split. It's the one other region that I've watched besides the LCS on a consistent basis where BDS looked great in spring but fell off, and consistently throughout the spring in every split that we saw them. Whenever they had a lead but then started losing it, their mental just checked entirely. So it's not surprising that they do exactly that in this scenario as well. They get a lead, they crush game 1, things start to go against them in game 2, even when they are a little bit ahead and still doing well, and then they just utterly collapse. This is also the first time that a Vietnamese 2 seed has ever beat Europe in one of these series, or won a best of series at Worlds ever. So the question becomes then for them, like, who's the real frauds here? Was it Vietnam as a whole, or is it just GAM? Like, are GAM the issue here relative to Vietnam and their problems? But then again, you look at MSI and it wasn't just GAM. So for BDS going forward, they now have to play against Detonation Focus Me, who got completely blasted by Flying Oysters, which is still one of the best names in all of esports. I'm not really going to touch on the CFO series. There's really not much to say. They simply outclassed DFM in almost every way, shape, or form. I don't see a world where DFM ends up beating BDS in a best of, even if BDS is in this form. I just don't see it happening. The Flying Oysters could be interesting, assuming they win this series versus the Flying Oysters. I didn't really get to watch too much of the game, so it's one of those where I'll watch it today during work and see if I have any thoughts or opinions come tomorrow morning whenever I'm predicting that series. Actually, thinking about it, I don't even know the schedule for tomorrow. Let me check. Never mind. So the schedule of the games is that tomorrow is actually the upper bracket matches for both sides. That means that Flying Oysters will play Team Wales and PSG will play Loud. If I had to throw my predictions out there, I'm actually going to go Flying Oysters over Team Wales. I think BDS just had a really bad day, and I've seen more from Flying Oysters at Worlds and just at international events than I've seen from the Vietnamese 2 seeds. So I think I'm going to go with them. And then on top of that, I think I'm actually going to go with Loud to finally pull off a win here against PSG, something they have never done. You go back to MSI, they just couldn't put it together against them, but I think this is finally gonna be the time which will clear a path for them to get out. Well, Europe, you think you had a bad morning? I think I might be up there with you now. I just realized I got to the train station and my wallet is not in my jacket like I thought it was. I guess it's somewhere back home. So I have to walk all the way back to get it because New Jersey Transit does not accept Apple Pay. I have no way of getting on the train to get into New York, but if it was literally any other freaking style of metro, I'd be perfectly fine. So, god damn it. Going over some other news around the league scene and Worlds is that it came out that the observer, or basically the person that is our eyes and directs the camera in the games, is currently one of the top ones from the LCK. He's specializing in kind of those zoom-ins and toggles of vision that are famous within the LCK. He's going to be doing the observing for Worlds through Swiss stage, and the knockout stage will be the LCS or like Riot Games and like LoL Esports International people. And I saw a lot of people freaking out of like, oh, why can't we have the LCK guy the entire time? I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like the zoom-ins. I really don't. Like, it's one of those where I'd rather see the raw play as is and then let those zoom-ins be the highlight. Like, let that be the thing that you're emphasizing afterwards. It's something that you see in traditional sports all the time that I really like. Like, very rarely do you have anything where like you're really like popping in, like flashing in. Like, I don't mind it every once in a while, but it just feels like it's like really overdone to a certain extent. Like, the good example was in the Golden Guardians BDS series, the gank in mid lane on Gory. That was a great zoom in. But then there's some that like I'm watching in the later stages that it just feels like it's like, okay, come on. I don't want to see the zoom in that much, but I think that's just my personal preference because there's clearly a lot of people that really like that. It's just not my thing. Second, viewership for yesterday's Loud series peaked at over 1 million. And I know some people are going to look at last year's viewership and say, oh, it's down from prior year. Well, two things that play into that. One, the LPL and LCK are no longer in play-in stage, which is a very good thing. We literally only have one team from Europe in there. Other than that, it's literally just minor regions. And the fact that minor regions are getting over 1 million views is incredible. That's a very, very good thing, regardless of what the comparison was the prior year. You need to make it apples to apples in order for it to actually make sense. And it's once again just another sign that like LoL Esports internationally is still the biggest game in the world, bar none. Bro, if you're gonna back up, holy shit. So yeah, I know there's always domestic worry of like, how's the LCS doing? How's the LEC doing? The LCK's losing millions each and every year. Look, we need to get to a sustainable point, that is for sure. But you shouldn't lose faith in the entire LoL Esports ecosystem because clearly being involved in this, it's still working. You just gotta figure out how to make it work on a domestic level. Anyways, that's it for me today. I will catch you all on tomorrow's video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you think is gonna win this Loud versus PSG series? I think it's gonna be one of the hopefully hypest series that we get throughout play-in stage, but who knows? We'll see. Maybe it's in our stomp like it has been historically. I feel like this time is gonna be different though. See you later. Adios.